Welcome to the official YouTube channel of ForEternia.com. I'm your host AJ, and today we're doing an unboxing and a mini review of the Masterverse, Masters of the Universe, New Eternia, Wave 10 WebStore figure. Now, this is the first time that WebStore has ever appeared in Masterverse plastic, and I am super excited. And to demonstrate my excitement, I've taken some of my WebStore collection and put it next to this Masterverse figure because I want to demonstrate to you that I am a huge fan of WebStore. As a child, out of all the Masters of the Universe toys I owned, WebStore was my favorite. He was my favorite vintage figure, and I just adored this figure. And this character, and his blue skin, and his spiderous appearance, and that action feature. I love that action feature. I would take that grappling hook, and I would put it like on top of Castle Grayskull, and I'd pull it and have him scale all the way up the castle. It was so much fun. Oh, and that face only a mother could love or a spider could love and AJ could love, because I love that face. I love the 4 red eyes, and I love the fangs, and he's just so cool looking. And this is why I'm so excited to get another WebStore figure, because this guy was my guy as a kid. And I was so happy when my mom picked up this figure, way back when, from my local toy store. I just couldn't believe it. Oh, and speaking of store, it's WebStore. That's how you pronounce his name, WebStore. Think of it like a compound word. You have a web and you have a store, and you put it together and it's WebStore. It's such a pet peeve of mine when people pronounced him as Webster. Like the television show. Do you remember the television show Webster? And it had this really cute kid. His name was Emmanuel Lewis. He is Webster. But this figure, this character is WebStore. There's even some YouTube media influencers out there that keep saying it wrong. And I got nothing but love towards them and nothing but love towards everybody. But please, it's pronounced WebStore. WebStore figure. WebStore. WebStore, where are you? WebStore. Okay, after that rant, it's time to take a closer look at this packaging. So once again, we have 2 pieces of glorious artwork on this Masterverse packaging. And this time the artist is Simon Eckert, who has actually really been busy with Wave 10. I mean, if you look at the core basic wave, which we went through, only Prince Adam was done by a different artist. His packaging was done by artist Eamon O'Donoghue, but the rest was done by Simon. So that's 6 pieces of fantastic art by Simon. And the WebStore is no different. I mean, if you look at the spine of the packaging, how great is this? The use of coloring with the green behind him to one of his tunnels in his lair, and WebStore is holding that grappling gun. And the same thing, the use of coloring, the use of red in the background with Castle Grayskull, and it just looks so sinister. And I just really love this artwork. It's really well done. All right, shall we take a crack at this bio? Yeah, let's do it. WebStore, Evil Master of Escape. Many moons ago, when Castle Grayskull shattered into the 7 winds, pieces of it fell into WebStore's web. Now the devious trap master lies patiently in waiting on the Isle of Arachnia. He knows that it's only a matter of time before another greedy adventurer wanders into his lair, seeking treasure or even the power of Grayskull itself. So now that we've completed this WebStore bio, before we take him out of the box, I just want to call attention to the bottom of the box, because with WebStore, we receive a set of instructions. And this is the 3rd time that we received instructions with a Masterverse figure. To be honest with you, it should have been 4. We should have gotten instructions with Frosta regarding how to change her hair color, that action feature. But regardless, we got instructions with Many Faces, then Whiplash, and now WebStore. And you know what's really interesting here in this diagram here is number 4. It looks like this is the end of the grappling gun, and it's saying that we can attach his his spider leg appendages to the end of the grappling gun. That's really interesting there. So we're going to have to give that a shot and see what that looks like and see what they're trying to accomplish. So, okay, now that we looked at that, it's time to take WebStore out of the box. So here is the Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, New Eternia WebStore out of the box and in 360 degrees. And we're spinning some awesome web here. But you know what? Real quick, since this is a New Eternia WebStore, you know, a subline that's supposed to be a new design based on old concept art, you know, old discarded concepts, part of me was really hoping that Mattel would be brave here and take a real deep dive and give fans the green WebStore that Mark Taylor drew and that his wife shared a while back. You know, this green WebStore, it always intrigued me, this look. And I know it's going to date me. But did you ever watch the television show The Land of the Lost? I watched that as a kid. And for anyone who watched that, you're going to remember these like creepy, bug-eyed, reptilian-looking creatures called the Sleestak. They used to make this noise or something like that. And they used to scare the stuffing out of me. And looking at this green WebStore, you know, I always thought it looked like a creepy Sleestak. Now, truth be told, this green WebStore might have not been a WebStore when it was originally drawn by Taylor, but whatever character it was, this design was later ported into WebStore's look. So this is the original WebStore to me, and I would love to see this green WebStore realized in plastic one day. Okay, but enough about that old concept. Let's talk about this figure. Let's get him down, take a closer look. So my first impressions of WebStore is really good. I'm really liking the look of this figure. I love these paint apps like the purple metallic used for the armor, and then you got black metallic paint as well. And then inside here you have that red translucent, just like the eyes. Actually, if you look at this, here, let me bring this closer. If you look at the seams here, this whole piece is red translucent plastic. Yeah, if you look underneath, you can see some parts of the paint missing. This whole piece is just red translucent plastic, just like the eyes, and they must have glued this on the center of the armor and then painted over it and around it. That's really interesting. So then you just have sort of the insignia in red translucent. You know, in regarding to the insignia, this character's name originally, I think in the beginning, was not WebStore, but it was Black Widow. If you look at the Filmation Bible that was written by Michael Halperin, this character was actually called Black Widow, which makes sense when, you know, you look at this sort of like Black Widow spider kind of insignia on the chest armor. But eventually his name became WebStore, and to me, that was for the better. So then you got some nice wash here on the pants. Oh, and I love the armor here on the shins. Look at the paint apps. These are really nice. So, and then articulation, I think you're going to have everything you come to expect from Masterverse articulation. Yeah. This head's, can't look up that great. Look down. Yeah, you have a little bit limited range of movement in the head, but otherwise everything else is going to be fantastic. In regards to the spider appendages, looks like they circle around 360 degrees and then go back and forth. So this is really rather cool. So here's a closer look at the head sculpt, and what a great head sculpt this is. You know, it's not too often we see an open mouth with WebStore, and you get to see all those teeth. Check out those teeth. And these eyes, how great are these eyes? They're like translucent red plastic. You know, I wonder if I had a flashlight and if I put a beam of light through this eye, would it come out the other eye? Or would it light all four? I mean, could we hollow out the head? Could a customizer do that, insert an LED and make this all glow? Man, would that be creepy looking and cool looking. But check this out. Look, do you see the seam? Look at the seam. It looks like this head is two pieces. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's more prominent there. You can see the seam. It looks like a mask almost. Looks like the front of the face was glued to the head. Actually, is it removable? Is it glued? No, it's not removable. But maybe this was the way to, you know, get that red translucent plastic on the inside. Huh. That's interesting. I just want to talk about colors, actually skin color. If you look at the vintage figure of WebStore and even the classics figure that was emulating the vintage style and added a few, 2000X elements, you see the skin color of Webstore using this sort of dark, kind of faded, dull blue. But if you look at the Origins figure and then this brand new Masterverse figure, they're using this more shiny blue, right? This more bright, eye-catching blue. And I'm wondering if this was a conscious effort by Mattel, because I have read some feedback from fans who actually didn't like Webstore, the vintage figure, as a child. Do you believe that? People not liking Webstore? But yep, there's people out there. But a lot of them are saying it was just too much blue and not very visually appealing. And maybe it had something to do with this, this dark blue, dull colored skin. And maybe that's why Mattel punched it up, to appeal to those fans that weren't exactly lovers of Webstore to begin with. I don't know. It's just an hypothesis, but who knows for sure. But also in regards to not just skin color change, but changes itself, if we look at the feet of the vintage and the classics and the Origins, they only have 3 toes. But this Masterverse New Eternia version has 5 toes. And then if we look at the back in regards to the appendages of Webstore, if you notice, like in the Classics original version, like 2000X, it looked like it was part of his body, these extra spider legs. But now they look mechanical on the New Eternia version and just part of the backpack and not actually part of Webstore's body. So in regards to accessories, Webstore comes with 2 additional hands. One's a closed fist punching hand, and another one looks like this clawing hand. And then he has this great grappling hook, which is also articulated, which is pretty awesome. Then he has this gun, which can also be used as a grappling gun, or I guess you could just pretend it's a laser gun. And then you have this handle, this multi-purpose handle. So the real strength with this Masterverse Webstore is its versatility, its options, its display options. Say you weren't a big fan of like these bottom spider-like appendages. You could just pull them out and just use the top ones. Or say you wanted the top ones gone as well. Say you wanted this figure to look like the vintage figure with no spider-like appendages. Then you could remove the top ones as well. All 4 pop out, and now your Masterverse figure looks more like a vintage figure. And of course, he's holding his grappling hook, and the grappling hook goes through the backpack. Well, you could do that too. You could pop this off, and you could put the grappling hook string right through the backpack here. If I could do this, and then clip it on. And there you go. And now you have a vintage style Masterverse Webstore. Now those spider leg appendages don't have to go to waste. If you remember on the bottom of the box, we learned that if we take this handle here, we can attach 2 of the spider leg appendages to this handle. There's 1. There's 2. And now Webstore can use this like clamping, it's almost like a clamp champ weapon, right? Pincers, you can go ahead and grab maybe an enemy, or maybe you help use it to like scale up a wall, perhaps. And there you go. So maybe we've grown tired of displaying this look, and maybe we don't want to use this as a weapon anymore, so we could go ahead and remove this as a weapon. And maybe we've decided we no longer want this vintage look with the grappling hook going through the backpack, so we could pop off the backpack and then take the grappling hook out of his arm and remove these pincers out of the handle, and then maybe put the handle in the end of the grappling hook, and now it could be handheld. Doesn't have to go through the backpack, and he could be more of a like a freestanding, I don't know, rock climber or something like that. And there you go. And now you have a new look. So perhaps I no longer want Webstore to use the handheld grappling hook, and I want him to fire it with his grappling gun. So what I'll do is just take his gun, and I'll take this handle out of his hand, detach it from the grappling hook, attach the end of the grappling hook string to the gun, like so, remove the grappling hook from his hand. Might have to put him down to do so. put it inside of the gun. Okay, now the gun's loaded and ready to fire. And all we have to do is just put this in Webster's hands, and he's ready to fire his grappling hook. But maybe, just maybe, I don't like the way he's holding both handles. Maybe I want this hand to hold something else. Maybe I prefer to put a launching handle in the back of this grappling gun. And then I'll remove Webster's hand and attach it to here. There, and then he can hold it and launch it this way. And maybe, just maybe, this is not the look I'm going for. So maybe I just want, say, one of his appendages on his back. Some sort of like targeting sensor or something over his head. Or maybe I just want the top two, so I could just put another spider leg appendage inside. So what do I think of the Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia Wave 10 Webstore figure? I think I'm going to answer that in song. Oh, am I? Yeah, I think I am. This Webster man can do anything a previous Webster can. All right, epic fail. But that is my point. That is the strength of this figure. If there's going to be a keyword today, it's options. Well, actually, there's a lot of strengths to this figure, to the sculpting, to the paint work, to its overall execution. But its biggest strength is its versatility. Its display options. There's so many different ways to display this figure. If you pretty much want this figure looking like a classics figure, you can. If you want this figure looking like the vintage figure or the origins figure, you can. There are so many different ways to display this Webstore, and they all look awesome. And there's even some new display options that you can create. And I didn't even go through all the options today. I recommend you discovering all the options yourself. Overall, this is a fantastic Webstore figure, and I highly recommend them, not just for Webstore fans, but all Masters of the Universe fans alike. Go out and get them. Well, that's it. I want to thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.